Are you a parent of a teenage child who's been diagnosed with functional neurological disorder, short for FND, and you are by any chance bending over backwards, trying to help your teen, but nothing is working? If that is the case, you're not alone. And what if I tell you that actually what you're doing, the more you try to protect or support or help your teen, actually things are getting worse. So let me give you an example. Like letting your child skip school again. If that's the case, these feel like an act of love because after all, you care and you love your child to death that you want to help. But actually, your behavior can be one of the reasons why your child continues to feel stuck. So in this video, I'm going to walk you over what it is that you're doing that is not working and what it is that you're actually needing to be doing to help your child towards recovery from FND. So let's dive in. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, which is an online group coaching program. I have been helping tons and tons of teens and their parents basically going from bedridden FND with no life to thriving life, like 100% functioning with or without FND because they get their lives back. And then eventually they basically get rid of FND. And so time and time again, I talk about this pretty much every single week during the coaching call. And that is, what does it mean by parents accommodating? And what does it mean by parents actually supporting their team? So I'm going to walk you over what they are. But if you are just finding that your child has been diagnosed with FND, well, in a way, welcome to the club that you didn't sign up for, and keep watching this video and all of the other videos on my channel because I have tons and tons of free resources. If you're one of those families who've been watching my videos and oh my gosh, every day goes by and my teen continues to have this up and down, but not really done with FND, then I would say keep watching this video and there might be an answer that might help you to unlock that feeling stuck. Okay, so let me walk you through. What is accommodation? Accommodation is basically when you as a parent change your behavior to reduce your child's stress or distress in the short term. So the example will be in two different categories. One is that you're basically protecting your child. So it's kind of like you don't have to do that. It's too stressful for you, and skipping social events to avoid symptoms, or wow, my child's having a really hard time in school, so maybe we should switch to online or homeschool or something hybrid. So then my child does not have to stay in that stressful situation. That is all examples of protective category. And by the way, I have to give a credit to a psychologist who came up with this idea, and essentially it started with how parents can help their child who has pretty significant anxiety and OCD, but this formula absolutely applies to the teens who are having FND struggles, okay? So protective category. So the other category is called demanding. And essentially what it means is that I saw you doing just fine and having great time with your friends earlier this week, so that means that you can do it when there is a will. Or there are so many other kids who are having the same or similar struggles, they're doing it, so you should be able to do that. Or quit already. This is just getting so frustrating and you should have figured this out already, or any of that kind of stuff that is, I don't want to say like diminishing, but basically demanding just boot on the ground and just keep going no matter what, so to speak, right? So it's a pretty extreme version of the accommodation, but anything in between also is the same deal. Basically, you're either protecting or demanding. Yeah, okay, I know you don't like it, but you have to do it, kind of thing, right? So what is wrong with this accommodation? Essentially, in a short term, it's highly effective. After all, you as a parent feel like you have more control, right? Because like, okay, I'm the one who get to decide when or where and whom, whatever my child gets to do or doesn't get to do. So you have somewhat of a control, and then because you're the one who is making decision for your child. But in the long run, it really teaches your child you cannot do this. More importantly, you as a parent have a hard time trusting that your child actually can do this. Now, if we're talking about semantics of, well, my child doesn't know how to do it or what to do to help themselves, of course not, because if your child is not getting any treatment or working with a specialist for teen FND, then of course, how would they know, right? However, at the core, can you actually trust that your child is able to get through this difficult and tough time? If the answer is yes, then I'm going to teach you what else can you do aside from accommodation. The opposite of accommodation is actually supporting. But a lot of parents get confused. Well, isn't accommodation also a type of supporting? Yeah, sure, depending on what you say. But in this context, the support really means that you, first of all, validate your teen's emotions and then difficulties they're going through. So you're just acknowledging it and validating it rather than that. So that's the opposite of demanding, right? Like quit being weak sauce, you have to do it, kind of thing. Opposite of that. Yes, I hear you. Even though I don't understand exactly what you're going through because I'm not you, I know the pain. It must be hard for you and it's so frustrating. All of those things are validating statements. So you're not necessarily agreeing with what your child is saying, but you're basically listening actively what your child is experiencing. So that is one way of supporting. The other category is that you trust. Again, this is the opposite of protecting, which seems kind of weird. However, the trust means that you are believing 100% that your child will get through this time, even though your child doesn't know exactly what to do at the moment. So the example of real support might look like this. I hear that this feels scary and I believe that you can handle it. You might add eventually. Or let's make a plan together for how you will go to school even if you feel anxious, right? So you're not letting them off the hook, but you're willing to work together. Or I'll be here cheering you on, not rescuing, but standing strong beside you. So that would be validating supportive statement. And essentially this shift from accommodation to support is the best and then one of the most powerful things you can do to actually help your teen recover from FND. And notice that this has nothing to do with what you say, how to say, with the purpose of changing your child's behavior or attitude. Because after all, you cannot be responsible or predict what your child is going to say or do in response to what you say or what you do. So in this context, what you do is 100% under your control. Therefore, you start focusing on what you can do, that you are doing or not doing or saying or not saying because of your teen's FND. My family's asked me a question about this. Well, accommodation means that I can't take away my child's wheelchair because without a wheelchair, she can't go anywhere else right now. I'm like, okay, that is what she is using. It's not what you're doing constantly for her, right? Yes, you might be the one who paid for it. You might be the one who delivered it. You might be the one who clean it or maintain it, stuff like that. However, that is more about, has to do with her child, right? So it's not about that. And I have a separate video about assisted devices and then how this can be either helping or not so helping with the teen's recovery. However, you can't just do a black and white statement like, oh, that means I cannot say anything or I cannot help my child across the board, like cold turkey style. I'm like, well, I mean, if that is what you can do, sure. But the reality is it can be overwhelming for both you and your child. So therefore, I would like you to start with something that you do for yourself to accommodate either demanding or protecting your child so that you can start picking one thing that you do that happens rather frequently. It doesn't have to be every single minute of the day, all day, every day. However, it's happening enough that you can actually work on. Also pick something that is easier for you to work. So let's just say if the thing that you're about to stop is bringing you a lot of emotional struggles, then I would say, well, is it something that you want to work on as a priority? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe for you, maybe not for you. So go through that mental checklist of what is it that I am accommodating, right? And then what is one thing that I am doing of all the things that I am accommodating that happens fairly frequently? And what is it that I can start working on that is fairly easy to do? And then you make an announcement. Hey, this is what I'm going to be doing, whether you like it or not, to your child. Not necessarily in that fashion, but essentially the announcement doesn't require your child's agreement or your child's being happy about that change. In fact, it may not be pleasant conversation. However, this is more about you and you changing your own behavior, being the model. Therefore, it's important for you to do. Now, these are the things that I teach in my online program, Teen FND Academy. And every week when you're in my program, and then every day, Monday through Friday, basically, you would get the live coach directly from me on exactly how you can implement that strategy in your daily life towards helping your child recover from FND. So if this is something that you would like help once and for all so you can be done with the FND, because you can be done with the FND, the link is down below so you can schedule a call to talk to me and then see if you qualify for the program. Also, make sure to hit subscribe and like this video, and then share this video with others who might benefit from this video. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.